Greetings, eaters, and welcome to my kitchen in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. I am the Obesity Sherpa, and today we are making classic pot roast. So it's September, but it's not fall yet, technically. And we're in Las Vegas, so it's still kind of warm. It amazes me how many people don't know how to do basic pot roast. It's not that hard. In fact, it's one of the easiest things in the world. Making this meal, you probably have under 20 minutes of prep time in the morning, and then another 10 minutes to make the gravy. I'm gonna also make a separate video for how to make mashed potatoes. We're doing my classic red garlic Parmesan mashed potatoes with roasted garlic. So I'm going to post that first, and then I'll post this, and then you'll have the whole meal. But the total prep time for the whole thing is under 45 minutes for sure, and you can get it going in the morning and then finish it up when you come home. So here's the pot roast. Today we're making, it's just under 3 pounds of pot roast, and wanted to go ahead and throw out my food recommendation for the day. Screen Door in Portland has some great breakfast food. I don't think I've done them before, but if I have, sorry. But if you're in Portland, Oregon, they have just fantastic food there. And the Screen Door has chicken and waffles and cheesy grits and all that stuff. There's a bit of a wait, so you need to get there and get in line. You're probably going to wait an hour to get in there on a weekend, but totally worth it. So before we get started, let's have a look at shoes. Today's shoes are another pair of classic Chuck Taylor Converse All-Stars that do have the classic Converse logo on the side. Just these are a little dirty. I've been wearing them a little bit, but in any case, always love the classics, and today's a Chuck's day. All right, down to business. So we're gonna take this pot roast, and to make your pot roast right, you need to sear it. So we're gonna do that, but before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and get our crock pot ready to go. So we have just a regular crock pot. So we're gonna put some water in it, probably about a quart or so. Yep, that's about a quart of water. Then carrots. So if you're using regular full-size carrots, you probably want to use a couple. These are pretty small baby carrots, so I used 2 dozen of them, but that probably only equals up to about 2 full-size carrots. So we're gonna dump that in there. We also need celery. I did 5 sticks of celery, so we're gonna dump that in there. You don't get to watch me cut them up today. 1 onion. This is not a big onion, but you can use a big onion if you like. Depends on how much you like onions. This is not going to be a huge pot roast, so I used a smaller one today. So I just kind of cut it up loosely. So that's going in there. And we have bouillon cubes. You gotta have your bouillon cubes, so I did 6 for this. All right. And then the classic way to make your pot roast is using French onion soup. So I'm going to use 1 packet of that too, just for the extra flavoring. And then garlic. And depending on how much you like garlic, as I've said before, I always buy mine pre-peeled because it's easier, it's not that expensive. I go through about 1 of these a month. That's about how long they're good for. So anyway, I'm going to take a handful like that and drop it on in there. And then a little more because I really like garlic a lot. And we don't want to have a lot of, there's of course sodium in the bouillon cubes and sodium in the soup mix there, but we don't want to have this be a real high sodium dish. So I don't want to add any more. I want a lot of natural vegetable flavorings in here. So that's why we have our onions, carrots, celery, and garlic. So this is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put this on high to get it up and running. And I'm going to add a little more flavor to it. I'm going to add a little Worcestershire sauce and a little sriracha, just a little extra flavor. So just a good jab of that, and a good squirt of the sriracha, which not too much. We're not looking to make this spicy. And what's going to happen with this is, depending on how you like your pot roast, you can either serve it with the vegetables as is, or you can blend them up like we're going to do in a few minutes. But in any case, that's everything that goes into the crock pot before, except for the meat. And next we're going to sear the meat. You can sear the meat using a skillet, or I like to use my barbecue because it's just easier and less to clean up. So we're going to sear this thing on my barbecue, and then it's going in here. It's going to cook for about 5 or 6 hours, and then we're going to pull it out and make the gravy. Okay, first things first. So we've got our grill heated up. It's really hot. I've been heating it up for a few minutes. We're going to take some vegetable or canola oil and just kind of hit the top of this. And this is to act as an accelerant to make it flame up so we get a good sear on this thing. So, here we go. Now we're going to let this sear for a couple minutes. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Let's go ahead and hit this. We're just going to hit it with a little Johnny's and black pepper. Like I said, we're trying to keep the sodium down, but Johnny's adds some great great flavor. And just some coarse ground black pepper. Okay. This is ready to go. Got a nice sear on this. Searing it keeps the juices in and makes it a more juicy pot roast. So we have our pot roast. It's been seared. All the juices are in there. I'm just gonna give everything I have in my crock pot a good stir here. And then in goes the pot roast. Take a look here what we're working with. There's the crock pot with vegetables and everything. Okay, this is going to go for about 5 or 6 hours, probably on high for most of it. I'm getting a little bit of a late start because I had some meetings for my day job this morning, so we're going to go ahead and let this go. We'll be back in a while, in a few hours, to finish it up. Our pot roast has been cooking for exactly 5 hours, so let's pull it out. There we go. You can see it just kind of falls apart when you poke at it, so that's what you want. It falls apart even easier the longer you go, but this looks pretty good right now. I'm just breaking it up with a spatula. So there's the pot roast, and we have made our potatoes. So what we need to do next is we need to make the gravy. So we've got this great stock here with all these veggies. If you like chunks in your food, then just serve it like this. I'm going to make an actual gravy. So here we go. What I'm going to do first off, I've got my handy dandy hand blender. So we're going to go ahead and mix it on up. And while we're doing this, we should probably get this going. So I'm going to take about 2/3 of a cube of butter, and I'm going to start melting it to make a roux. Put it in stock pot, or put it on the stove on medium heat. In the meantime, we'll continue on with our mixing. We'll continue on with our blending. Okay, so 2/3 of a stick of butter. This is the saucepan I use to cook my potatoes in. So I'm going to put about 1/2 cup of flour in here. Maybe a little more. I'm going to whisk it together. There you go, finished up. Now we're going to take the stock, and if you have done your stock right, if you followed the directions given earlier, you aren't going to need to add anything more to this other than the stock. So this is what the stock looks like. Look at that. Looks kind of like soup, and it's kind of thick from all the vegetables. So I'll probably put about between 3 and 4 cups in there. I'm going to start whisking it together. All right, so I'll put some more. And you can just kind of do this by feel. However thick you want your gravy, that's how much you put in there. All right. I think I'm just going to use all of it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put this on the heat to make sure we get it all thickened up. And we have this pretty thick, and I think we're going to need a little more water. Okay, so I did have to add a little water. It was pretty thick with everything, so everything should be good. And it looks like that. I'm trying to splatter on myself, but there you go. Scratch gravy. Put some of this on top of the pot roast to help keep it moist. So there you go. Pot roast with gravy. And now we're going to plate some of this up to eat. So we have our garlic, Parmesan, ranch, red potatoes here that I made. That's a separate video that we're going to plate some of this up. It's very gooey because of all the cheese in it. And then some pot roast. Pot roast and potatoes. Let's go ahead and get that gravy on there. A little more on the meat because I really like gravy. And there you have it. Pot roast and garlic parm red mashed potatoes with ranch, powdered ranch. So I recommend eating this with horseradish, but you do it however you like. But there you go. Another great plate from the kitchen of the Obesity Sherpa. Apologies to our guest Jimmy Kimmel. Still not learning how to make squirrel pie, but maybe someday. Please like and follow us and share on all of our social media channels. That's going to be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We've got Reels, which is part of Instagram. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Tumblr, we're on Rumble. Our main channel is on YouTube. If you make this yourself, please take pictures and share them with us. We would love to see them. But until next time, thanks for joining us and keep on eating.